Welcome into Cluster Fun Thursday, clearly Throwback Thursday, as you can tell by my shirt. Danny Cunningham, Manny Hill with you. We're going to be talking baseball as the Chicago Cubs are the winners of the Craig Kimbrel sweepstakes. The Twins blew a game last night, fittingly, against the Cleveland Indians after a nice long rain delay. Some NBA Finals as the Toronto Raptors move up 2-1 against the Golden State Warriors, or the remnants of the Golden State Warriors, I guess we could say. But let's start with the Twins bullpen. Obviously, Kimbrel going somewhere else. What's your immediate reaction to that, Manny?
Well, I'm not terribly surprised because obviously the Twins were not the only team that was in the mix for Craig Kimbrel, so it's not a surprise that he went somewhere else. But if you're a Twins fan, I've got to imagine you're pretty disappointed. And then on top of that, you watch last night's game and you watch the bullpen blow a lead, and it's kind of a compound level of disappointment. But
it was good for my home run derby team, though. Francisco Lindor's having a big week for me. That's all
you care about, right? Is your home run.
That's it. There are 4 guys in baseball I root for, and Francisco Lindor's one of them. Sorry.
I think the Twins are going to be ready to be done having to see Francisco Lindor for a few days, I think.
Yeah, I think that'd be fair. I think that would be fair to say.
He's been kind of a thorn. I mean, he's a terrific player, obviously, but he's been a thorn in their side in these first 2 games.
And it would be great for him to hit like 4 more home runs tonight. I'd be really happy with that. Just give me a nice little 7 home run series against the Twins, and I'll be thrilled.
What's interesting about the Kimbrel signing is, I think it's 3 years and $43 million.
Yeah, around there. I'm not sure the exact money because there's like a buyout for the 3rd year if the Cubs don't pick up the option.
It's like a $1 million buyout, something like that. But that was apparently 3 and 45 was what the Twins reportedly were throwing at Kimbrel back in early spring training, and obviously he turned that down, and then he takes a similar sort of deal with the Chicago Cubs. So that kind of makes you feel a little, if you're a Twins fan, it kind of makes you feel a little salty, but. You know, there are other options out there as far as the bullpen is concerned, as far as, bullpen arms are concerned for the Twins. So that, it's a disappointment because we know how good Craig Kimbrel is, and it would have been fun to see him here. But there will be other options out there for the Twins, and we'll see how things go.
Does it make you uneasy that there are other options out there, but they're not here yet, and Kimbrel could have been? And that's something that it's a very clear need that this Twins team, they need some help in the bullpen. I don't think that there are many arms in the pen that you can trust late in games, and Kimbrel obviously would have been one of those, probably the top one right away. So does it make you uneasy that not only he picked another team, but that, okay, now you're kind of searching? That wasn't something you could count on, but it was always a hope that you could make it happen. And now that's out the window.
It does make me a little uneasy in that nothing has really happened yet. But I think there's still a lot of time. It's still a long time between now and the July 31st trade deadline. What kind of sucks about the Kimbrel thing is now you're looking at having to give up possible prospects to try and bring in a bullpen arm, which I'm not always a huge fan of. I think if you're going to give up prospects, I think if you're going to give up prospects, you typically would want to do that for a bat or a starting pitcher of some sort. But this is the situation that they're faced with now. Obviously, last night showed that sort of further proved that they're going to need to go out and get a bullpen arm or two to help them for this pennant race that they're on. The Twins have an opportunity here. They're a really good team. I know they've lost these last 2 games against the Indians, but they're still one of the best teams in baseball. They have an opportunity here to go on a deep run. And it'll be interesting to see how Derek Falvey and Thad Levine handle this in the next 6 weeks.
It certainly will be interesting. And there is, like you said, plenty of time before the trade deadline, but missing out on Kimbrel is obviously something that does kind of stink for Twins fans because it was always a hope. And I don't think it was ever the expectation, but it was a hope that he could come in and provide an immediate difference without having to give up any prospect, which people tend to really care about a lot because it's always the what if and all that stuff. But that's a different discussion for another day. NBA Finals last night, Toronto Raptors go up 2-1 in Oracle Arena. I mean, the game was in Oracle, in Oakland, a historic arena, historic for being loud, and there was a "Let's Go Raptors" chant at one point. Like it was an unbelievable performance by Toronto offensively. I think that there are a lot of things defensively they need to clean up off that game, but it was really impressive to see what they did on the offensive side of the floor.
I think the Raptors did exactly what they needed to do. They had an opportunity with no KD and no Clay in the lineup for the Warriors. They went on the road and they took care of business. They did what they needed to do. If the Raptors would have lost that game last night, I think a lot of people would have been looking around and saying, come on. Like,
oh, they would have been cooked.
Yeah, they would have been cooked. The series probably would have been over. But now, you know, what's going to happen with Clay, with Clay's hamstring? We don't know when we're going to see KD. We might see KD sooner than we thought if the Raptors jump up 3-1 in this series if they win Game 4. But it was a really nice performance for the Raptors. Again, Danny, we've talked about with the Raptors, in order for them to win this series, they need the non-Kawhi guys to step up, make shots, make plays on the defensive end. Danny Green was huge for the Raptors last night. He was unbelievably good.
Did you know he's shooting 51% in the finals, like, for his career? And he's played in a lot of finals games, obviously. I mean, when he was on the Cavs, he wasn't on that finals team the first time. But then in San Antonio, had been in the finals a couple of times. And obviously now with the Raptors, it's unbelievable. He's shooting 51.5% from three in his finals career.
Yeah, and that was mainly goes back to 2013, where I think he
shot 55% in that series.
I think he had 27 threes in that series or something like that. I mean,
had the Spurs won that series, there's a good chance that we're talking about former Finals MVP Danny Green.
Yeah, he was absolutely. Yeah, he was totally in line for that if they would have won that Game 7 in Miami. But yeah, I mean, he was terrific. Pascal Siakam, I thought, had a much better game. Even Serge Ibaka, like, I tweeted in the third quarter that Serge Ibaka was, like, not playing well, and up to that point, he really wasn't.
Sure.
And then he just started blocking a lot of shots.
He had, like, 6 blocks in the second half.
It was amazing. But this is what the Raptors have needed. Kawhi was great last night, had a nice bounce-back performance, and they needed the other guys surrounding Kawhi to step up and have big performances, too. Kyle Lowry, I thought, was great last night, too. So this is the formula. If the Raptors are going to win this series, even if the Warriors get KD and Clay back for this series, the only way the Raptors are going to win is if Kawhi is great and the other guys around him continue to play a level that's above what they normally play.
Yeah, and it sounds like Klay Thompson's going to play in Game 4, at least try to give it a go, but you don't know what you're going to get.
Right.
I would have to guess that if this injury happened during the regular season, he's out at least 2 weeks. That's a big deal to try and come back in 5 days from that.
Yeah, and we talked yesterday on Raised by Wolves about the Chris Paul injury last year. I mean, when you pull your hamstring, that's something that doesn't really just go away over the course of a couple of days. It's something that lingers. Even if it feels better after a couple of days, it's still there.
Yeah.
And you're still dealing with it. So if Klay Thompson plays in Game 4, what sort of Klay Thompson are we going to get? If he's not 100%, it's going to change the way he plays. It's probably going to affect his ability to shoot.
And defend.
It's going to affect even more so his ability to defend people. And he is their best perimeter defender. And if he's not all the way where he needs to be, it's going to hamper his performance, and it's still going to put Golden State, I think, at a little bit of a disadvantage.
Absolutely. It'll be interesting to see Game 4 in that series set for Friday night. Raptors up 2-1, Game 4 at Oracle. They could close out that building with a loss. That could Friday night potentially could be the last game in Oracle, and it could be a loss. But you're not going to the Warriors having to deal with injuries. You're not going to get any sympathy from me.
Yeah, definitely not from me either. I mean, I go back to Cleveland in 2015 where they lost Kevin Love in the first round against the Celtics, and then they lost Kyrie after Game 1.
Yeah, in overtime of Game 1.
And LeBron was basically playing on an island by himself and was still performing great. And I mean, it was like Dellavedova and Timothy Mozgov were probably the next